Hello and welcome to our module about the different types of abuse. Abuse is a real problem in South Africa. Unfortunately, a lot of abusers and victims don't see themselves as being in abusive situations, so they become stuck in dangerous cycles of abuse and violence that can even become life-threatening. In this module, we'll look at the different types of abuse and how you can tell if you or someone you know is being abused either at home or at work. But first, let's look at some of the common words that we'll hear in this module. Humiliation. Saying hurtful things to someone in front of their friends, family, or colleagues. Physical. Relating to the body and bodily functions. Emotional, relating to and dealing with our feelings. Psychological, relating to and dealing with what we are thinking and what's on our minds. Harassment, when a person says or does things over and over to make someone else feel afraid. Abuse that happens at home is also called domestic violence. There are many different forms of domestic violence. The first type we'll talk about is physical abuse. Physical abuse is hurting another person by hitting, slapping, pushing, grabbing, biting, kicking, stabbing, or even shooting them. It's also forcing someone to take medication or drugs, or tying them up, or locking them into a room or small space. Physical abuse can lead to serious injury and will often leave marks. Physically abused people often have unexplained bruises or injuries. They can be very quiet and fearful and have trouble looking people in the eye. The next type of abuse we'll talk about is emotional or psychological abuse. This is abuse of the mind rather than the body. It's the hardest to prove and is also the hardest to recover from. Different types of emotional abuse include insults, saying something mean to make a person feel bad about himself or herself. Threats, telling someone you will hurt them or someone they care about if they don't do as you say. Isolation, not letting someone see their friends or family. Humiliation, saying hurtful things to someone in front of their friends, family, or colleagues. Emotionally abused people are often quiet and afraid. They have trouble sleeping and eating, or they eat too much because they feel sad and empty. They let other people make decisions for them. The third type of abuse we will look at is sexual abuse. This is forcing a person to do anything sexual that they don't want to do, including rape. When a man forces his wife to have sex with him, this is called marital rape. Unfortunately, most women never tell anyone when a close relative has raped them. Experts say that this is because they feel ashamed and they are afraid that their male relative will hurt them more if they find out that they told someone. Women who have been sexually abused are more likely to get HIV/AIDS because they cannot force their abuser to wear a condom or be faithful. They might also have pain, stomach problems, and be anxious, afraid, and depressed. The fourth type of abuse we are going to talk about is financial. Financial abuse is when an abuser controls their partner's money or property. Sometimes an abuser will force their partner to stop working so that they are dependent on them for money. They might also threaten to break or sell things that are valuable to the victim or stop paying for rent or for food. There are many victims of financial abuse in South Africa. These people cannot pay their bills or buy food or basic things like clothes or soap. They often don't have any money even though they work or their husband or wife works. As we said in the first module, Abuse is about power and control. It doesn't only happen at home or between family members. It can also happen at work. There are many different types of abuse that can happen at work. Let's look at what they are and how they affect people. Workplace bullying is when a boss or co-workers make an employee feel unsafe or unhappy. They might say hurtful things about a person's family or tell lies about what they are supposed to do. It makes it difficult for the employee to work and creates a difficult work environment. Harassment is when a person says or does things over and over to make someone else feel afraid, stupid, or unhappy. It is often done to make that person work more or do things he or she doesn't feel comfortable doing for fear of being hurt or losing their job. There are different types of harassment. Racial harassment is when an employee is made to feel afraid or stupid because of his or her race or ancestry. Sexual harassment is when someone makes sexual advances, tries to touch, or says obscene things to another employee. Unfair discrimination is when a boss or other employees treat people differently because of their race, gender, age, religion, or disability. They could also be pregnant or have HIV. An example of unfair discrimination is when a woman is paid less for doing the same work as a man. Unfair labor practice is when an employer disciplines or suspends someone for reasons that have nothing to do with work. It's also when an employee isn't promoted or is demoted because the boss doesn't like them. The different types of workplace harassment and bullying have different effects. Sexual harassment can make a person feel unsafe, worthless, afraid of losing their job, and physically unwell. Racial harassment can make a person feel worthless and powerless. It can also make them angry. Workplace bullying makes people feel stupid, unwanted, and worried that they will lose their jobs, which can lead to depression and problems at home. All of these types of abuse and harassment can have serious consequences and must not be tolerated. And that brings us to the end of this module. We discussed the various types of abuse such as physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. We also looked at types of harassment and some forms of discrimination. In the next module, we'll find out what abuse looks like and discuss ways you can tell if someone is being abused. We look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye. Since Salagahle. You can now test what you've learned by answering the assessment questions.